What's going on, guys? It's Sensei Adam. Welcome back to another Brawl Stars video. So of course yesterday we just had a huge update with a whole bunch of balance changes and a whole bunch of mechanical changes. So of course it's bound that the meta is gonna shift completely, and oh boy it did. Now you're seeing so many more long range brawlers dominating every single map, while the tanks were kind of put down as the long range meta has come into the game. So today we're going to go ahead and rank each brawler from worst all the way up to best and put each one in an individual tier where I think their skills lie in the current meta. So if you guys do enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more daily Brawl Stars content. So let's just go ahead and get started. And before we do start listing off some brawlers, I do have to say, this list between each individual tier, I see a huge gap. So between like the C and the B, I see there's a huge gap between those brawlers. And this is like the first time I've ever been able to say that, because before it's always been like all the brawlers were kind of in the same footing. You're just trying to rank which ones you think are the best and the worst. But now there's a huge difference between each individual tier. So of course, as always, let's start off with the bottom. And the F tier is basically like the brawlers that I think are worthless in this meta. They're not even usable in almost any game mode. You can try and find a niche with them, but for the most part, they're dead. And at number 19, nothing is more true to that than Mortis. Mortis, he's just been killed throughout this new update. So before the balance changes, he was still one of the worst brawlers in the game, just because if you try and go against a tank with Mortis, he was gonna get shredded because of the auto aim. So he cannot juke anybody. They're just gonna spam the auto aim and you're gonna lose. And now even the long range brawlers can spam the auto aim and beat Mortis. Especially Colt, Rico, even Brock can do it. Piper not so much to an extent, but for the most part it's so easy to hit Mortis. Even as a Piper, he can't even get close to them to do any damage. The one place I was going to have some hope with Mortis was going to be Brawl Ball, because I was hoping with his increased range again, he was going to be able to single dash dribble a lot easier. But it's very hard to do so and control with the attack joystick. And I did play a ton of different Mortises when the Brawl Ball map came out yesterday, and I have to say, we wrecked every single one of them. They didn't have a chance. If you play Shelly or Terra, they just wreck a Mortis. He's not even usable in that game mode, so Mortis is the worst brawler in the game currently. At number 18 and 17, we're going to group together the throwers. Now I know that they got kind of a buff because instead of just a normal 9% speed increase, they got a 14% speed increase to their attacks, but the issue with them is even their primary game mode, which is heist. That's where you primarily see these two throwers. It's just been completely overrun by long range brawlers. So even there, I don't see them dominating anymore. You always see people even playing Brock and Piper in heist. And for some reason, they can just not compete against them. And with the controls, they can't have that accuracy to compete with them. Alright, so let's move on to the D tier. These are brawlers that I believe are usable in a few game modes, but even in their primary game modes, they are not the best brawler to use. So at number 16, we have Nita. Now here's the problem with Nita and this most recent update. Basically about 8 different brawlers got the same attack size as Nita, such as Colt, Brock, Piper, and Spike, while Nita's attack stayed exactly the same and still at a very short range. So naturally she's gonna get a huge disadvantage against those brawlers, since now they have the same range as her, and plus even more because of the range. I'll say she's still going to be very usable in Smash and Grab, but she's going to have a lot of issues with a brawler like Colt, who has almost the exact same width of the range as her. So if she gets close, she's not going to output nearly as much damage as him. He can just spam the auto attack and kill her really fast. In at number 15 is Poco. Now there's kind of like a little pattern of how Poco works. He really benefits when the meta is a short range driven. So the last meta was all about tanks, so you probably wanted to have a Poco in your smash and grab teams. But now the meta has shifted to long range. So I really think that benefits Pam a lot more than it benefits Poco, especially in smash and grab, because the long range brawlers can stay further away and stay around Pam's healing station a lot more than brawlers like Nita, Spike, or Bull can, because they have to move up in order to actually do damage. So I really think this long range meta is gonna hinder Poco's performance. Alright, now we head on to the C tier. These are brawlers that I believe are still very good and can dominate in certain situations, but overall the brawlers in other higher up tiers are just overall better than these guys. So at number 14 has to be Jessie. In this update, Jessie did herself get a huge increase to her attack width, but the issue with her is she just cannot output as much damage as some of the other brawlers that got the same effect, such as Colt, Brock, even Piper. Secondly, her turret really struggles against a long range meta. You can put it down, Colt can just stay really far away, and it's now very hard for him to miss that turret. So even if you have her start power, keep spamming it, trying to keep it alive, Colt's just gonna hit it very fast and it's gonna destroy it almost instantly. And at number 13 is Pam. Pam, I believe, is in the same boat as Jessie, where her turret is going to be a lot easier to target when a Colt just breaks all the walls and you have no ability to hide it behind anything. But like I said in the Poco clip, Pam thrives a lot more when it's a long range meta, because there's a higher chance that your long range brawlers are going to stay around your healing station radius, rather than if it's a short range meta and your short range brawler have to get close to the enemy, so they're not going to stay back getting healed up by that healing station radius. But saying that, I don't see Pam now being useful in other game modes that she did dominate in the previous meta, such as Bounty. So yeah, Pam at number 13. And at number 12 is El Primo. Now, some people might have said that El Primo is worse than this, but I still see him as the best Brawl Ball goal scorer in the game. He might not be as good, but he's a lot better than everybody else. Bull, yes, he's better than him. Darryl, of course. Even Mortis, his dash isn't going to help him. El Primo's still the best goal scorer out there in Brawl Ball, no question. Although currently you are seeing some team comps that involves having no tank at all, like Shelly, Colt, and Terra, that might be stealing El Primo's thunder, but I would say he's still very usable even in some other game modes that have a lot more grass. But overall, his glory days are long gone, because this is the long range meta. He's going to struggle in those wide open maps. Last but not least, on the C tier and coming in at number 11 has to be Shelly. I would say Shelly is kind of doing fine in the current meta, especially in a game mode where she thrives and it has always thrived like Brawl Ball. But she does struggle versus other tanks because she can only do great when she has her super up. If she doesn't, a tank is probably going to two-shot her, while she very much struggles against long range. If she's trying to get near a Colt, you have to be a juke master in order to dodge those giant bullets. So yeah, Shelly at number 11. So let's set our sights on the B tier. Now, like I said earlier on in the video, with each individual tier jump, I see a big jump on how each brawler performs. So the B tier is usually set for brawlers that can dominate a single game mode or some certain maps, but overall they aren't like the most overpowered out of them. They're basically balanced in my opinion. So at number 10 is Bull. Last update, everybody knew Bull was the go-to guy to play every single match. You always saw him or Darryl be present in every single team comp, any map, you saw him everywhere. But now you're kind of seeing a lot less of him. Some people are saying he might be useless, but in my opinion, he is not as useless as he seems. The first maps that we did see to test out this new meta were made for long-range brawlers, such as Shooting Star, Star Gold, so we do have to take a little bit of time and take other maps into consideration on how well the tanks are going to do. I still think he's going to be usable in some bounty and some smash and grab maps, but not like before where you can just plop him down anywhere and everywhere, just use the auto aim and win every single time for your team. Number 9, Darryl, I think is going to meet the exact same fate as Bull. Wherever Darryl goes, Bull goes, because they serve almost the exact same purpose. They have almost the exact same mechanics. Darryl just didn't get nerfed like Bull just did, so I think he's a little bit better and might be a little more useful than Bull right now. Moving on to number 8 is Bo. Now, Bo did kind of get a big buff in this most recent update where his mines trigger a lot faster than before, and I think that's going to really turn the tides on people just trying to trigger his mines. You see a lot in high level gameplay, people just going up, then going back, triggering his mines. I don't know if that makes it almost untriggerable, So Bo might be a really good brawler for area control. Now you might be seeing a little bit more of him in Smash and Grab, and you know you're going to be seeing him a lot in those grassy maps in Bounty. And at number 7 comes in our first major long range brawler, which is Ricochet. Now I honestly think while every other long range brawler with this update got a huge buff, Ricochet kind of got a nerf. Because now, think about it, he's just an underpowered version of Colt who can coincidentally bounce shots off the wall. He has the same exact range as a Colt. The thing that kind of differentiated between Colt and Rico before was their range. Rico before probably had like a 5 or 6 tout advantage over Colt. So yeah, they decreased his range a ton, and it shows. If you are trying to get into a firefight with Colt, most of the time you are gonna lose. They didn't give him a buff, which was whenever he shoots the wall, his shots does get a little bit faster over time. But the issue with that is, if you just shoot the wall once and trying to get somebody behind a wall, it does not travel as far as his range was before. So yeah, he got a major nerf with this update. Last up on the B tier and coming in at number 6 has to be Tara. And I have to say, I thought because of the long range meta, she wasn't going to be used as much. But after playing a lot of Brawl Ball games and some Smash and Grab, she's still very much useful. Her super is always useful in every single meta. If you're going against tanks, if you're going against long range brawlers, if you have that loaded up, it always instills fear in everybody's eyes. They're always like, oh watch out, Tara has her super, we gotta kill her, or everybody just spread out. And if you do get 2 or more people, you can just use the aimbot button, keep spamming it, and most likely you are gonna kill whoever's trapped in it and load up like 3/4 of the way to another super. So I believe Tara is always going to be either on the A tier, on the B tier, no matter what meta of the game it is. So now we move on to the A tier. And like I said, there's a huge jump that's taken between the B and the A tier. So yeah, you have to take that into consideration. So at number 5, I put Spike. Now I kind of think I might have ranked Spike a little too high. And in retrospect, yes, he probably deserves to be maybe at the top of the B tier at most. But I did put him on the A tier for a reason. Specifically because his attack, his radius, wow, that thing is huge. It's so hard to miss with it, especially if you get somebody right next to you. So if you get a tank, if you get a short range brawler, you can just go ahead and spam that auto attack. There's no way to dodge it. That spike thing is so huge, wow. But the one reason why I think I'm kind of questioning why I put him all the way up here is he's probably very good at dominating a tank heavy meta. Because he's amazing at countering those tanks and he shreds through them. Long range meta though, he does have to get close to them, and I do feel with his low HP, I don't know, he's probably going to struggle a little bit to try and get near a Colt, near a Brock, in order to make that huge spike worth the difference. But now guys, we reached the top 4, and these are the brawlers I believe are dominating the current meta. So get ready to see them basically everywhere. Just like you saw the tanks in the previous meta, in every single game mode, these guys are going to dominate everywhere. Trust me. So, number 4 is Crow. Crow, I believe, is a brawler that no matter what they do to the meta, unless they nerf him to the ground, he's always going to be dominating no matter who's at the top. He's always going to be like an A tier kind of guy. And his poison is the reason why I believe he's going to be dominating right now. So, let's say a Piper hits a shot and then misses her next one. Their enemy is going to regen unless they hit it again. But Piper does have a long reload time, so it's going to be hard for her to hit her again and prevent the enemy from regenning. So why not just have a Crow poison them and have your Piper reload, and then yeah, everybody's happy. So yeah, Crow's a great complement to all these high damage brawlers just because he can prevent your enemies from regenning, so he can make that damage stick. And last on the A tier, and I know you guys probably thought Piper was going to be a little bit higher than this, but trust me, I have some reasoning for it. I know, her shots are extremely deadly, and because of the increased width of it, it's so difficult to juke it. You can try, but if you are in the middle of the crosshairs, for the most part, you're not going to be able to dodge that shot. So, I believe Piper is an essential requirement for any bounty game. In any team comp, in almost every single map, you are going to want to have a Piper. And also, you've been surprisingly seeing a lot of Piper in Heist. You know a meta is broken when Piper is good in Heist, which she's usually not supposed to be good in. other than those two game modes, I don't think she's going to be dominating anything else, because a game mode like Smash and Grab and Brawl Ball, it requires you to get close to your opponents. So she doesn't do as much damage when you're up close. So yeah, I don't think she's going to be as dominating a factor on those two. So now we go ahead and take the huge, and I mean huge by this one, leap all the way up to the S tier. So these are the brawlers that you can tell they're extremely broken. They're usable in every single game mode. Just like before, it used to be Darryl and Bull. Now it's these two brawlers. So coming in at number 2 is Brock. So yeah, you know that just like Piper, he's going to be dominating in both bounty and a heist. But he doesn't have the limitation that Piper has, which is if he does get close to your opponent, he can still deal the same amount of damage. So you can still play him in Smash and Grab. In Brawl Ball, he's still going to be just as useful as in the bounty and heist. His super, I would say, is like 5 times better overall than Piper's super, where you can just stay long range, deal out a ton of damage. You can also break a lot of walls at long range, while with Piper you have to actually get close and move back, and your mines aren't even guaranteed to break the wall that you're trying to break. So overall, I would say Brock is just a better version of Piper. You can expect to see him almost everywhere. And at number 1, and honestly, I should probably make a whole separate tier just for this brawler right here. Maybe call it the God tier, or maybe like the ruler of the Brawl Stars Dominion tier, because that's basically what he is right now. So yeah, number 1 is Colt. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. And there's a few factors that make him extremely overpowered, and I don't think that Supercell actually took into account what they did with these new balance changes and all the changes to the new game mechanics. First, they made no difference in the range for all the long range brawlers. So Colt, Piper, Rico, and Brock, everybody has the same range. And that was kind of what differentiated them between Colt before. Because if you remember, his range used to be a lot shorter than every other long range brawlers. He actually did have to get quite close in order to do all his damage. Number 2, of course, has to be the width of the attacks. So with the new width, it's almost impossible to miss any of your shots. Even if you do miss, most likely you're going to hit at least one of them and prevent your enemy from regenning outright. And if your enemy is far away, for the most part, you're going to hit most of your shots. If they're close, you can just spam the auto aim button and there's no way for them to dodge. He's basically a tank on steroids at this point. So yeah, expect Colt to be seen in every single game mode. I don't think there's even a single game mode that he's bad at. And I think most of them he actually dominates and destroys everybody. So yeah guys, that was my tier list. What do you think about it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I love to hear your opinions down in the comment section below. I always take the time to read almost every single one of your comments, so I'd love to hear your opinions. And I'd also love to hear what you guys think of the current meta. Do you like it? Do you think the last one was better? Or do you think the one pre-update was a lot better than these two metas? So just leave it down in the comment section below. But thanks for watching guys. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button for more daily Brawl Stars content. And as always, I'll see y'all next time. Peace.